Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Optic going up against compLexity. Pistol round starting off. Optic will be able to secure themselves the CT side, while compLexity will be on the terrace side. Interesting strategy that they're going for in terms of their buy-ups, where Daisy is actually going to be picking up a Molotov this early on. Not really something that you see every time in a pistol round. Slemmy actually getting a second one, so A site could be where they're hitting, but instead they're making their way over towards B. Probably will be flinging those over to Heaven and the headshot area to make sure that no one will be able to mow them down with the USPs. Def leading the charge so far. He's going to be going in first with a bomb. Maybe not the best of ideas, but Naf, he's up on Heaven. He finds one, turns it around. Will be able to find two more, perhaps, but can't quite line them up. There's a man in the side, but he gets taken down. That's Tarek. And now Def has finally managed to get the bomb plant down. 4-man alive for Optic. They've got a man advantage, and Naf is quickly making it into a massacre. He's found two so far. Will be the third. And Def, Slemmy, they equalize the scoreline, leaving Mixwell alone up in Heaven. Jumping down, this is going to be a difficult one for him. They know where he is, but he takes him down regardless. And now the bomb is planted for him. Slemmy can't quite make his way over, but he doesn't have a kit. This is going to be problematic for him. Slemmy slowly inching forward. Mixwell decides to try and take the battle. He's run out of ammo. He needs to pick up a different gun. He's trying to go for the reload, but doesn't have time anymore. Slemmy will be forced to go down with the bomb, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Mixwell gets the kill. That's an extra 300 for him. Beyond that, Optic, unfortunately not able to go for the retake. Not having a kit comes back to bite them. And compLexity, surprisingly enough, their unconventional double Molotov pistol round strategy does end up working out fairly effectively. However, it has to be said that Naf really did drop the ball a little bit from Heaven. Could have potentially prevented the bomb from even making its way onto the site while they were trying to focus down Tarek. Missing a few shots over there with the USP, can't really be afforded. Def now being boosted up. Tarek's at that 5-7 along with some armor. He won't be peeking up towards boost just quite yet. That's going to be Mixwell's job, and he hasn't quite connected with any shots. Unfortunately, 5-7 pushes forward, finds Surreal. The gun doesn't drop down. Unfortunately, Def will be safe for now, as the Molotov will block out Mixwell's path, but it doesn't quite matter. Mixwell managed to take him down regardless. Slemmy with the UMP inching his way forward. Already the man advantage going the way of Optic. Only man to fall so far has been Tarek, and Mixwell is more than ready to be able to take this again. He's peeking forward. Naf, in the meanwhile, finds that kill with the UMP. Another one as well. Daisy now left in a 1 versus 1 with the bomb being down. Rush knows where he is, but Daisy is able to close it out. It's a very expensive round coming up for compLexity. And Optic, they're able to get a few kills that do allow... That especially allows Naf to be able to get a little bit more money, so they can potentially buy an AWP moving in towards that 4th round buy, despite having the full force buy across the board for their squad. Mixwell will have that potential. And Mixwell just starting things off very strong with the 2-5-7 kills over in mid. One of them, of course, the flashbang out Surreal definitely makes sense, but Def going down over there, not really what you would expect in an AK versus 5-7 matchup. Now you see the double SMG coming out from compLexity. Surreal and Def both picking a Mac 10 up each. Will probably be going fairly aggressively, perhaps over towards the B site once again. Optic, though, they're going completely bare bones. They're not putting any investment into it whatsoever other than a P250 for Mixwell. Well, no, never mind. Naf actually buys up a UMP and full armor, including head armor. This is going to be an interesting decision to see where exactly he's going to be going. It's going to be the A side for him. And perhaps not on the same page as the rest of his team, as he will be left with only 1,000. Tarek is being burnt alive, and Def will be able to clean him up. Android inching forward slowly, finds another, just completely opening up the mid side. Now the question is, where exactly will they be going? They've got the 2 people over on the B side, but at the same time you have to keep in mind Naf has got that UMP in A, and he will be able to find 1 kill with it, but compLexity, they're hitting B instead, and it's a good decision to make. Def goes down right now, but it's still a 1 versus 1 on the site, and Android will be able to take him down, overwhelms him. And Naf left alone in a 1v3 with the UMP only. No utility to speak of either, so he does end up losing out his SMG as well. A second pause coming in from the side of Optic, perhaps. A little bit surprising, perhaps some technical issues coming through. They did take quite a while to be able to connect into the game as well. Oh, compLexity is the one who calls it. And now Optic is in a bit of a difficult situation with their economy, with Nav probably being forced to go for a UMP once again. No AWP will be coming out. They weren't able to get a single kill in that previous round. Unfortunately, Nav would have been able to pick that one up for Mixwell had he not bought up, but decides that that was the favorable choice to go for. Actually goes for a Farmus instead of the UMP. Wants a slightly added firepower that we don't really see all too often recently. The UMP generally does get prioritized heavily over that. But now, compLexity, the question is, can they take this gun run away? And Tarek being chunked down to 55 early on. That's a great start for them. Def goes down though as Mixwell trades that damage out with more to spare. Android now again inching his way forward the same way that he has from the boost every single time. Gets the same kill on Mixwell on Sugar Cube. But does he know Tarek is there as well, is the question. Tarek has backed himself off all the way over towards the A side. Mid control has been completely lost. Jason, he's got to be able to hold this B site. Android is trying to peek into it. There's a little bit of a gap in the smoke that he's trying to use to his advantage. And compLexity, they're slowing things down with a minute left on the clock. They're inching towards the B site. No rotations making their way over despite a lot of information being gathered by Rush. Tarek is not making his way over towards that B side. They're still afraid of that highway push where Android is making some noise as well. But now Daisy going in onto the side, might be able to find one in the back. That's Jason R, but instead Jason finds Daisy. Slemmy trades it away immediately with one onto Naf though. Jason could find the second. Indeed he will. Surreal brought down to 18, brought down to none. And Slemmy, Jason just completely cleaning house on that B side. Android now the last man left standing in a 1 versus 3. It's doable for him with the angle that he is approaching from, but it's not going to be easy whatsoever. Tarek is peeking him right now, but Android, he's got the crosshair placement down. 15 seconds left on the clock. He needs to hurry this up if he wants to be able to get even a few kills, and Rush shuts him down with Jason taking his attention away. 3-1, and Optic are able to win the first gun round. And compLexity off of that, they will be in a bit of a tight economic situation with Surreal going for dualies. It's a misbuy coming out from Surreal, and he will end up without the ability to buy up a Molotov because of that. 2 Tech 9s on the terrorist side. It's going to be a difficult one, and Android will need to step up. Question is, will he be going for the same play as always? The incendiary coming through does block that for now, and Tarek is able to get a quick spray down onto Slemmy. compLexity already at a man disadvantage. Daisy is boosting himself up, and Android is going on the lurk instead. Def will be forced to fight up with Tarek on the mid side. But it's a 2-man peek coming through soon. Tarek hiding in sandboxes for now. They do have a few Molotovs in their hand, and I think he may have seen the foot of Def as he was dropping down. Def sees one, lines it up, could try and transfer it onto Daisy, but instead it will be Tarek's job, as he will be able to take him down. 5-2, the advantage going the way to Optic. And Jason, once again on the B side, will be given the opportunity to clean up this round completely, as he will go for the peek onto Android very soon. Surreal smokes off CT. Android trying to use those Molotovs to good avail, but look at this. Jason's found his way over. Regardless, Android is able to trade it out. But at the end of the day, he's being closed in on, and Tarek will finish him off. 3-2 Optic. They're making a show of this now that they've won that first gun round. They're basically walking over compLexity at this point. Android, the only person who seems to be able to put up some numbers with the best of them. Mixwell sticking to that scout for now. Not choosing to go for the rifle. A little bit surprising, honestly. But let's see how it works out. He finds one shot. Can he find the second? Yes, he can. It's through the wall on the head. And a third soon to follow. Def could be brought down by that grenade right now. Oh, yes, he will. Great stuff from Mixwell, already shutting down the B aggression so early on, using only a scout. Minimal utility being used as well from the CT side. Mixwell, of course, didn't really have too much to start with, unfortunately. And it might be the third kill for him right now as he misses the shot, surprisingly enough. Never mind, that's the second one that connects. Slemmy will be delivering another to his arms as he will pull out that P250. Tries to spray down frantically, will get it. Surprisingly enough, picks up that scout. The question is, can he do anything with it? Get a few more kills, perhaps. Get a few... Oh, the bomb will be planted down. That's brilliant stuff. They will have so much more money as a result of that moving into the next round. compLexity should be able to get a very good buy off the back of that. And Optic, unfortunately, another disconnect coming through from them does mean that we will be seeing another pause yet again. And compLexity, you look at the money that they have because of that bomb plant. Now they will be able to go for that full utility. Otherwise, they would have, some of their players would have been hovering around that 4,000 mark where you can't really afford a Molotov. And you have to go, you're forced to choose between a smoke and a Molotov, basically. But the question is, will Mixwell be pulling out that AWP in this round? And given that the bomb was planted, it is highly likely, because compLexity, of course, will not be going for any UMPs, will not be going for any of those typical close-range weapons. And Mixwell, we've already seen how impressive he was with the scout, let alone the AWP, where it's got the one-shot kill, as long as he does connect with it. Unfortunately, both teams seem to be having some issues. Perhaps it's a server problem, we're not quite sure just yet. Trying to see if I can get some communication for this. Well, hopefully it will resume shortly as soon as the Optic player does reconnect. Until then, we need to keep in mind that compLexity might be taking advantage of this spot to try and think of something new, something that might work a little bit more effectively than their previous few gun rounds have gone. And Android being boosted up in mid did work out for them very well earlier on, where they were just able to win that duel over towards Sugar Cube, over towards mid every single time, get a quick headshot onto a player of Optic, generally Tarek. Shut him down, get that man advantage, and then just transition that into a smooth victory. Of course, to those of you who are just tuning in, this is the ESL Pro League. Optic going up against compLexity to be able to decide who will be able to take that top 6 position, who will be able to go to Dallas for the finals. And we do see the reconnect coming through. And Jason R, he has been showing up so far. He's been very effective on that B side. He's been able to shut down pretty much all aggression from compLexity. And now we see the AWP coming out from Mixwell as well, and this is something to be very excited for. He might even be getting aggressive into A main soon, but decides against it as they are clustered around that B side instead. 3 players pushing forward very aggressively. Jason and Tarek just making sure that they're cleaning up anyone who tries to push through. They've noticed that compLexity do like going for that B side aggression. Now that's over and done with. Jason returns Tarek towards mid, towards his old position where he will be able to watch boost and make sure that no one is coming his way from there. Mixwell just speaking in towards Squeaky before rotating out. He needs to be very mobile, very nimble on his feet because compLexity, they're incredibly spread out all across the map. And Mixwell, if he's not able to effectively position himself, well then compLexity will have a much easier time in this round. Let's just put it that way. A minute left on the clock, and it does look like it is A bit of an A-side execute, but the bomb hasn't been picked up just quite yet. Few rotations coming out, but still 2-player over towards that B side. It's a fake coming out from compLexity, and they're trying very hard to sell it. A man even walking through with Daisy. But unfortunately, compLexity will be shut down as Android finds one onto Jason R. Tarek sees the legs, and he will be able to drop the bomb. Follows up with the second. Android could be taken down over here as well. He's forced to reload, and Android will be able to win that duel because of that. Naf left in a 1 versus 2 situation. What can he get done? If he can just push through that smoke, maybe find that bomb before it gets picked up. Android reveals himself, shows his shoulder, and Naf will be forced to back himself up. 15 seconds left on the clock. He tries to play that headshot angle. Doesn't succeed. Not too much money on the Optic side. They will be able to go for some UMP buys if they want to do so. Optic. A little bit thread bones, but Mixwell will have a FAMAS thrown over towards him. I would have liked to see Tarek throw over that scout to Mixwell and pick up the FAMAS himself, but it's perfectly fine. compLexity, on the other hand, they've got their full utility. They're more than ready to be able to find a few kills. That UMP could be put to good effect as well against Tarek and Rush, Tarek, Rush, and Jason, who don't really have that head armor to protect them from the instant headshot. And yet again, compLexity are running their default strategy. They're spread all across the map, just making sure that if anywhere Optic is going for some aggression, they will have the chance to be able to hold an angle, to be able to shut one person down and back themselves off safely. We saw it coming out from Optic in the previous round in the early B push, but unfortunately that's when compLexity wasn't quite able to hold the angle for long enough. And Tarek with the scout misses the shot entirely. Again, the bomb is positioned towards that B side, and it does seem like compLexity massively favors that side. And Jason, he's had his work cut out for him almost every single time, but now the bomb is making its way over. Rush, he's in a key position, but that key position will be shut down. Daisy takes him apart at forklift, and Android will be able to find Tarek on truck. Cleaning up the site. The bomb will be planted for a main, so shouldn't be too hard for them. Naf and Jason at this point are just trying to go for some exits. It's a very hard retake to go for. If they can find a kill through the smoke, something on those lines, that would be an entirely different story. It does look like that might be the case right now. They're boosting up Daisy. Naf sees him. He's able to shut him down. But without Jason being close enough, they both decide to back themselves off. It's just a very difficult retake situation for them. Even though they do have the kit, just no utility whatsoever. And compLexity, despite conceding 3 rounds to Optic after the tactical pause comes through, they're looking solid. Then they have taken this to a 5-3 scoreline with Optic. Once again, their money is very low. And they should be saving up here unless they want to buy around these 2 guns, which wouldn't really be the strongest of buys. But we've seen worse work out. Question though is, where is Naf going to be going? Because Naf probably wants to be able to save up that M4 into the next round. Winning this one is going to be a stretch to say the least, but Naf instead, he's very safely positioned back to truck. Just making sure that if anyone's pushing out through A main, they have the chance of being able to take this round away. If he tries to go for the long range battle, Surreal wins that though. Daisy chimes in with a second frag onto Mixwell. Jason is left alive with that UMP, but what can he do at this point? Pushing forward, can he find a kill over here? Picks up that M4 and will drop it immediately after compLexity. Win that round, don't lose a single player. And you can see the money is building up on them. They've got more than 6,000 on 3 players despite rebuying. Daisy and Def sitting around that 3,000 mark too, so nothing too bad for them. And Optic, although they do pull out the full rifles, no AWP for Mixwell, no kit, no head armor. Well, the head armor doesn't really matter. But no kits whatsoever, so they have to be able to get these frags early on. They can't rely on these retake situations. Jason will have his work cut out for him as always, as they seem to be hitting the B site. Tarek is there to back him up though. And slowly inching into the side, that's going to be Def. just waiting for the smoke to bloom, the smoke to clear out, but immediately after it gets re-smoked, he backs himself off through it. Will be using it as cover to escape. Optic is using their utility very early on, surprisingly enough. And because of this, compLexity has got that perfect timing window at about 50 seconds left on the clock, where if they go in, Optic will have no utility other than anti-flashes to try and stop their push. And that's a very difficult situation to be stuck in as a CT side. You want to have some Molotovs, you want to have some smokes to be able to block off a few pathways, play around in the site. And the only one left is in the hands of Jason R. Of course, he will be needing it desperately, and he gets Molotov out of position, backs himself off, will be perfectly fine, still untouched by a lick of flame. Android finds one though, that's Tarek going down, and they look to be rotating their way over towards that A side. Rush hears that squeaky door being open. He's going to be able to mow down Daisy right now. He sees the gun barrel sticking out. Two more players coming out from A main. Surreal finds two for himself. And Def in the back lines will concede. Oh, never mind. He is able to take it from Mixwell. Jason R, last man left standing. Two players very, very low on the side of compLexity, but that flank coming out from Android does make them very susceptible to being taken down over here. It's not an easy 1v3 by any stretch of the imagination. There's no such thing. But if Jason had actually won that duel against Def, then I could have seen him being able to take control of the site and turn it into a 1 versus 1 against Android. Seven to 3, and the quasi-buy will come out from Optic. Naf, surprisingly enough, does purchase up a kit as well. Maybe not the best of ideas, honestly. And they're going for a highway stack, which is a very interesting decision to make. Normally you see teams... Oh, Mixwell flashed up, dies to the flames. But normally you see teams stacking up towards that B side just in case anyone's pushing through, or you can try and use a flashbang to push through, find a quick kill, get a rifle for your Kevlar players. But Naf going for the defuse kit instead of a few flashbangs, I have to say I'm very disappointed. The best case scenario for them at this point would of course be just to be able to get up a few kills, pick up a rifle or two here or there. But Def is going to be making that very difficult for them as he finds two quick kills, even peeking for the third, despite being very low on HP. Jason R left alone, and he's over towards that A site. He will try playing around through the smoke and almost got the kill into Daisy, but he's able to trade it out with a quick spray down. And double op comes in. Tarek picks one up for himself. Mixwell will be able to have the second. Much better situation for utility. Both Rush and Naf have got kits as well. Two Molotovs on the side of Optic. But compLexity, I have to say, they're looking much stronger than we expected them to be looking. 8-3 already secured on the T side, and should things continue the way that they are, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 10-5 scoreline. And Optic, they can't afford to lose this. Not at all. If they want to be able to make it to Dallas, if they want to be able to make it to that big LAN final for the Pro League, then this just simply isn't an option for them. And Surreal finds that first kill. Tarek loses out the battle against the AWP. Pulls out the Tech 9, follows through as well. Naf just didn't stand a chance in vents. And now in a 3 versus 5, Rush needs to perhaps find a spray down through the wall despite being very close to Surreal. He isn't quite able to achieve that. And they're backing off, but look at this. Daisy is coming in from the back lines. He went for the full lurk to make sure that he can try and get some exit frags, try and make sure no one can save up. And Mixwell, he's not making any noise whatsoever. However, now look at this. It's a 2 versus 3. If they choose to go on towards the side, but Jason being as low as he is, they decide against it. Daisy finds 2 kills for himself, and now they know where that AWP is now. Surreal is going to go and try and cut him off. Just making sure he's not coming out from squeaky doors. Mixwell holding that angle, should be able to get this shot any day of the week. But now he's turned around. Now he needs to be a little bit more careful. As Android will have his teammates flashing him through. But can they find him in time? Doesn't look like it. They expect him to be in squeaky. And Mixwell saved that AWP into the next round. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a pause coming in from Optic at this point, where you do try and sit down, decide what exactly is the game plan, how are you getting back into this game, because for now, the quasi-buy will not be cutting it. Mixwell maintains enough money to be able to buy up an AWP, even if he does die. And Tarek with the deagle will have to hit some great shots to make sure that they can actually get away with this round or get some decent economic damage in. If nothing else, the AWP of Mixwell is all fine and well, but how much can he really do? Oh, Surreal once again wins that battle. Well done by him. compLexity just preferring a very slow, methodical style of play where they're just going for the same executes, well, not same execute, same default over and over. They're making it work. And despite Tarek getting a nice shot in onto Android, Surreal is able to trade that immediately. Naf follows through onto Daisy. It's a 3 versus 3, but Jason and Rush are both very, very low. Jason goes down. That's the AWP hitting the deck. And although Naf should be able to save that AK moving into the next round, they don't want that. They want more. compLexity are facing down a 10-3 scoreline if things go well for them. And Optic, they don't want to let that happen. They want to be able to secure at least 6 rounds. Otherwise, right now, compLexity, if they're not stopped, who knows, it could even be an 11-4 or a 12-3 situation. And that is an almost impossible situation to recover from. What I'm surprised about personally is that compLexity is doing so well on the terrorist side, because typically their T sides aren't all that strong, and that is just generally said about North American CS, that T side isn't really their best. Oh, Rush gets taken down. Naf will be able to keep that AK alive at least. Again, the AWP comes out onto Mixwell, but what I don't like... Oh, hold that thought. Nope, not getting him. Unfortunately, doesn't quite get that wallbang. But despite the AWP coming out on Mixwell, what I don't like is that he went for head armor. And that could have been an extra smoke over there, and that does make so much of a difference while Daisy finds a spray down through Squeaky onto Rush. compLexity with a man advantage should be able to transition this forward, have successfully transitioned their first man advantages into round wins subsequently very well so far. They haven't been playing sloppy CS, they haven't been giving up kills without trading them out. And that's exactly what they need to do at this point. They just need to try and trade some frags, make sure that they're the ones coming out on top. Even if they lose a man, they're able to gain one in return. Android, though, he doesn't have any intention of losing any man right now, as Mixwell finds one shot, goes for the second, tries to get the flicks. Unfortunately, Def will shut him down as he misses it. Daisy finds a third for the round. And yet again, Jason is left alone in a 1 versus 3, and he's brought down by Slemmy. 11-3, and Optic does not have the money to make this work. A scout in the hands of Tarek, an AWP in Naf's very capable hands, and Mixwell somehow manages to pick up an M4 despite being thrown over a UMP. Tarek in the meanwhile finds one shot to open things up. Optic could potentially at least get 4 rounds in this half, because 12, it's a very difficult situation to be stuck in. That's where if you lose out the pistol round, then you're probably facing down match point. And Naf Well, he finds one, but gets traded out immediately after. Rush is trying to smoke things out, make things a little bit easier for him, but he gets flashed out. Will be able to find one, connects with the second, and leaves Android alone in a 1 versus 4. A minute left on the clock, but he doesn't have the bomb to play with, so the time is really inconsequential. Flashbang goes through. Will not connect onto Rush. The Molotov as well, and he gets caught with a grenade in his hands. Rush takes him down. 11 to 4. Optic. They're able to hang on for dear life, but if they lose this pistol round, well then, compLexity should be able to run away with this very easily. And the second half begins. Optic, they need to step up. They need to be able to get a few more kills at this point, but what I'm very disappointed about is that Jason R has had a very good performance over towards the B side. Other than in 1 or 2 rounds where he got shut down by Android, he has been able to get quite a few kills. And he has been able to successfully clean up around that B side practically solo. And despite him being the only player on B side, Optic was just consistently losing out men so early on. Mixwell somewhat underperforming other than that 1 round with the scout. And the same could be said for Rush as well. Surreal, at least he starts things off strong with the USP, finds 2 kills through the smoke. And Optic, that's just very unlucky for them. 5 versus 3, and Slemmy has got a defuse kit, so despite the bomb being planted, that isn't too much of an advantage. Android, in the meanwhile, has managed to lurk his way over. It brings down Naf. It's a 5 versus 2, soon brought down to a 5 versus 1, as Mixwell is the only man to get a kill. And not sure what that was about. Some server problems coming into play. 12 to 4 and a compLexity. They win the second pistol round as well. And Optic, it has to be reminded that the 3 of the 4 rounds that they've won have been off the back of the fourth round that they were able to really win, and they were able to get a bit of an economic advantage going their way. Beyond that, they haven't really won any gun rounds. Yes, there's a force buy that they won at the 15th round, but that's very telling right now. And look at how compLexity are positioned. They're expecting a B-side hit, but Optic, they're saying, you know what, let's just go A. And A is where Def is waiting for them in a long-range situation. It's not going to be too difficult for him to be able to try and hold things out. Interesting Molotov going out, should be able to stop a few players from coming in. He finds 1 spray down. Daisy from a highway finds the second one. And this is the problem. This is the problem that you have with the P250s. They don't even get the bomb plant down despite being in an ideal situation to get it onto default. They get greedy, they try and go for a few kills. And that's where everything just falls apart. Optic, if they got that bomb plant in the previous round, they would have had so much more utility right now. And because of that, only 2 smokes and a Molotov in terms of grenades. aggressively pushing through on towards that B side. That's going to be the... Oh, hold that thought, actually. Android finds one, and that's Tarek going down. The incendiary will block out any further aggression as well. And the triple SMG, if this works out up against the full gun round and they're able to keep it alive in the next round where Optic will be forced to eco, that's where compLexity, their money is going to be completely stacked. Not that it'll matter too much because they will be sitting at a 15 round match point. Well, not match point, map point. Assuming that they win the subsequent anti-eco. And Optic, they've got to be feeling the pressure. They've got to be keeping that in mind. Because you can see already their initially very decisive movements have turned into a little bit of a just scrambling around the map, trying to figure out what they need to do. They get some mid control, but beyond that, with 50 seconds left on the clock, they don't really know where they want to be going because compLexity is completely depriving them of any sort of information. Slemmy might be able to find out where Jason R is right now. Well, not Jason R, rather. It might be able to find out where Rush is if he makes any noise. But it will be Def to try and bring him down as Surreal goes down to Jason R. And the A side is where they're trying to hit. This might not be the best of decisions. Def isn't able to get that spray down. Surprisingly enough, Rush now very quickly peeking over towards A main. Brings down Android as well. No, Android rather Slemmy. And now Daisy left in a 1 versus 3. The first gun round does look like they should be won by compLexity, but Daisy is making a case for himself. Brings it back to 1 versus 2, but the flank should catch him out. That's Rush to finish off the round. Still though, Optic's economy is very bare bones. They are able to get a little bit more utility than last time. Jason still not having a single smoke to his name. And Daisy, well, he's doing a decent job of shutting down the boost. Optic, this time around, they don't get that early on man advantage, and immediately compLexity, they back themselves off. They're playing very defensively. And as a result of that, Optic, they're not being given anything. They're not being given any opportunity to bring their man disadvantage back. Equalize the playing field. And so they return into a default with Rush pushing through towards Squeaky Door. And A site should be where they're trying to hit. Where is Daisy? Daisy is underneath the boost and he will not hear any footsteps whatsoever. But it has to be said, Def, he has the potential to be able to really shut this down. Surreal is backing himself off towards that B site. Maybe not the best of ideas. The smoke gets thrown out, so he will be going for the rotation back. Def avoids a flashbang. Can he get a few kills over here? Finds one towards Forklift. Brings down Jason. Surreal will be able to back him up. Trades that frag as Rush goes down. 2 versus 4 and left. 2 versus 3 very quickly as Naf finds a few more kills for himself. But Slemmy brings it back once again. Tarek not going for the bomb plant. Trying to go for the clutch. And compLexity off the back of that, they've reset Optic Gaming's economy. And Optic, not only are they looking at a 15-5 even then, because they're force buying up right now, if they lose this round, they've practically conceded the victory to compLexity there and then. Def will be forced to watch Optic very quickly scurrying onto the bomb side like insects, but Rush says it doesn't matter, we're no insects. He picks up a gun, finds a kill, and Tarek will be able to get that second one as well with the Molotov perhaps. No, never mind. Surreal keeps himself alive. It doesn't quite spread towards him, but with the bomb being dropped, with the bomb being deployed rather, they do have a fairly decent chance of being able to take this down. Rush trades out the kill. Avenges Naf. And will be able to find a second one as well. Tarek left. Oh, never mind. Def actually gets a team kill. That might be making things a little bit harder for him as he's left in a 1 versus 2. Trying to go for the ninja play. He will be able to get it in time. Never mind. Tarek with the knife. Brings it back. Optic keep their hopes alive. And compLexity, now their money is gone, but it doesn't really matter. They've got enough of a round buffer to not worry about a thing. Because they know that everything is going to be alright. Quasi comes out from them, but not really able to get anything too much. Def, the armor keeps him alive for now. Def yet again, finding Android, bringing him down. The early on frag that has allowed Optic to have so much success. And look at how carefully Optic are being forced to play. They realize that they can't let compLexity get anything more than they're forced to give them over. And Def, he's taking a lot more than that. Finds the kill under rush. Tarek brings down Slemmy. And the question really comes down towards how many exit frags can you get in this situation. If you're able to get 2 or 3, that's where things get a little bit interesting. As Tarek goes down, will drop that AK as well, and in a position where it's very easy for him to pick it up. Daisy could choose to save that. Moving into the next round, their money isn't looking all that solid. What with Android only having 800 and himself having 1150. And indeed, that is exactly what he's doing. He's just making sure that if anyone's backing their way out from the CT spawn area, well, then he's going to be there to intercept them. But Optic, they realize where he is. They decide against it, and they're going to be perfectly fine. They will be able to save up their remaining 3 rifles. Get away without a lick of damage. I am falling asleep. And it's not because the game is bad or anything. No, it's just because it's 7 AM in the morning. It's okay, perfectly fine. We're gonna soldier this out just like Optic and compLexity. As Optic, well, they're definitely looking to soldier things out. They're just on the grind. Again, finding the numbers advantage early on. Def says, hello, peekaboo, bye-bye. Come again. And Mixwell says, well, not this time. The conversation between the players is getting very intense, with peekaboos coming in with goodbyes, hellos, and at times even oohs. Android again just trying to go for some exit frags and compLexity. Well, this was their double eco. They had to go for it, and now they will be able to get a few round victories, hopefully, once their guns start rolling out. I blame their British/Canadian bits of the roster for that. Not enough guns for them. What can you do? Terrorists win. (14-8) and compLexity, well, this is their chance to be able to really seal the deal. Optic, though, even if they lose this one out, they've got quite a bit of money, so they will be able to buy up in the next round. The question is, are compLexity going to try and change something up? Are they going to try and go aggressive? I would have liked to see Cyril get a flashbang in towards A main, just get aggressive, be able to take down Mixwell over there, who does not have an AWP for himself, which was taken away from him in that previous round. But unfortunately, they decide against it, and Tarek will find one spray down before getting traded out. No number advantage going either way, but perhaps the rotation is long overdue as we see Daisy pushing forward aggressively, making sure no one is towards that A main side. Jason R will actually be caught out by that grenade, brought down to 79. And that's the one-shot range for the M4. That's what's important. Surreal, if he just held the angle for a little while longer, he would have been able to get 2 kills, maybe even 3. And right now he's playing Jason's angle. He's going to be able to try and play with that one-way smoke. He finds one, goes forward for the other, drops down into headshot, finds a second. Optic. They're being shut down by Android single-handedly. As it will be Jason R left in a 1 versus 3. Can he find it? Doesn't look like it. 15-8. Optic now have to face 7 map points if they want to come back into this. Surreal's AWP not really all that impressive in the previous round, not given the chance to shine. It really was just down to Android making some great plays. Mid control looks to be the name of the game for compLexity yet again. So for Optic yet again. Trying to transition over in towards that A site, just making sure no one is in any of the corners as Slemmy finds one onto rush. 3 players on the A site though. This is definitely not the greatest of ideas for Optic, and that's why they're recontemplating their decision now that they've lost the man advantage. Sorry, not the man advantage, the general's numbers. They've lost the advantage over to compLexity. And Jason, he's managed to lurk his way over. Slemmy reveals his position though, and the boost will be interrupted for now. Jason realizes with the second player it has to be. The grenade will do some decent damage, but he gets taken down at the end of the day. That's Daisy doing the honors. Surreal peeking through with that AWP. Can he find Mixwell? Yes, he can. Winning that duel every single time so far. Finds a second as well. Makes it into a 1 versus 2. And Naf will get taken down by Android. And with that compLexity, they take map number 1. They're able to win in a very difficult situation. We didn't quite expect them to be able to take that away. Fortunately, though, they make things interesting for us, and we're going to be back very soon with game number 2, which will be on Train, if I'm not wrong. Stay tuned.